IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
ConnectUs will provide local, reliable, affordable, and speed-of-light fiber internet to Clinton. Get on the install list now by clicking the ConnectUs icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Fiber internet is coming to Clinton. Get on the install list now.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show is Jack Myers with Social Security. Good morning, Jack. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Seth. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Doing good. And by the way, Happy New Year. I should have said that off the top. Happy New Year. How were your holidays? Do you guys do okay?
Yeah, it was a good time, kind of chance to slow down a little bit, just enjoy some family time. But yeah, it was good and ready to get back into it. Hope you had some good times over the holidays, and hope your New Year's going well also. For sure. Thanks for asking, Jack. And as always, thanks for making time for us to talk all things Social Security. And let's get right to it, Jack. The ABLE program has been expanded in terms of eligibility. What's going on here, Jack? Tell us about the ABLE program. Yeah, so, I thought it might be good to talk a little bit about this. So, last month on December 9th, in December, I should say, that marked the 9th anniversary of the signing of the ABLE Act. And what ABLE stands for is it's Achieving a Better Life Experience. And so basically, the first ABLE program opened up in 2016. And today, 46 states plus Washington, D.C. all have ABLE programs. And, the ABLE accounts basically provide a way to save money and build financial independence without affecting eligibility for important benefits like supplemental security income, so that's SSI through our offices, Medicaid, HUD housing assistance. So there are a lot of different benefits of having an ABLE account. For example, if you're on an SSI, you can save up to $100,000 in an ABLE account without it having any impact on eligibility for SSI benefits. So, that's huge when we talk about a program that normally has a $2,000 asset limit. If you're trying to save money in a regular account, in order to maintain eligibility for SSI, you can't have more than $2,000 in an account. So with an ABLE account, you would actually be able to save up to $100,000. Now, of course, there are guidelines on when you can use an ABLE account and that sort of thing, but it's still a great way for people with disabilities to start to save money without losing benefits, access to these benefits that we're talking about.
Jack, I'll tell you what, let's talk a little bit about a person, like what qualifies them to have an ABLE account. How about some of those things?
Yeah, that's great. And, that's one of the things that's going to be changing here in the future. So right now, in order to have an ABLE account, a person must have become disabled before the age of 26. However, the ABLE Age Adjustment Act's proposed amendment was signed into law in December 2022, and that's changing that age to 46 starting in 2026. So we're not there yet, but in 2026, that adjustment age or that eligibility age is going to change to 46. So what that means is at that point in time, people who become disabled before the age of 46 will be able to create an ABLE account. And as I mentioned, now it's available to people who become disabled prior to the age of 26. So that's kind of a little bit on the eligibility. But basically, like I was saying, the ABLE account gives people the ability to contribute money or save money and maintain their eligibility for certain government programs like SSI and, as I mentioned, HUD-based housing assistance, things like that. So if you're interested in looking into this a little bit more, you should know that there are several different states, including Illinois, that have their own ABLE programs. It's not a requirement that you create the account with your own state's program, but I think it's probably a good idea that you check your own state's program first before looking at others. If you want information about Illinois ABLE accounts, there is a website. You can go to illinoisable.com. So that's www.illinois spelled out able, ABLE.com, and you can learn a little bit about how to set up one of those accounts. There are also opportunities for other people to contribute money to an ABLE account on behalf of a disabled person without affecting SSI eligibility. So, that's a real good option if you have a disabled child and you want to put some money in there for them, or there's a grandparent that wants to put some money in there for them. The ABLE account would make that possible. So again, illinoisable.com if you want more information on getting started with one of those ABLE accounts.
Anything else on that one, Jack, we didn't touch on you want to put out there for us?
No, those are all the highlights I wanted to get through.
Jack Myers, Social Security, our guest on the phone here for this morning. Jack, you've brought a lot of good stuff with you today. Let's talk about things to consider when your child with disabilities turns 18. And there's a lot to consider here, so let's run through it. What should we know?
Yeah, so, obviously when your child turns 18, they become a legal adult, and it's always an important time. But it's especially important if your child has disabilities and will need additional care into adulthood. So, in those circumstances, there are a few things that you need to consider, things that affect stuff like health and welfare decision-making, changes in SSI eligibility. So if we talk about the health and welfare decision-making for a moment, when your child turns 18, you're not automatically allowed to make certain decisions for them anymore. However, you can stay involved through a couple different things. One is what we call the representative payee program at Social Security. So if your child is getting assistance from SSI, they get SSI benefits, or if they get some sort of Social Security benefit just because they were a minor, but now they're turning 18 and they're keeping those benefits because they're disabled, if that's the case and they need help managing those funds, you can apply to be their payee through us at Social Security. And that would basically give you the ability, it would put you on their record as payee. It would give you the ability to help them manage their funds and also, do business with us. It would give you that ability to talk with us on their behalf. Then there's another thing that you might want to think about, which is guardianship. Now, this is going to require court involvement and would typically be used to help you with other aspects of their life that the representative payee program can't assist with. Sometimes people will use what's called power of attorney to suffice for this, but if your child can't execute a power of attorney, so if they're not, able to go and say they want you to be their power of attorney, then that's when guardianship may be necessary. A lot of times you're going to enlist the assistance of an attorney to help you with guardianship. So that's not a Social Security thing, but that's just something I wanted to mention because it kind of goes along with other aspects of their life and might be something that you should be thinking about. And then another thing to consider is what happens with SSI, Supplemental Security Income eligibility, because there are some changes to that program. It's a needs-based program. It provides monthly payments to children and adults with disabilities. And when I say needs-based, I mean there are income and asset limits that apply. So if your child is receiving SSI as a child, when they turn 18, we're going to have to review their eligibility for continued SSI payments because the rules for eligibility change when we talk about adults versus children. So we're going to have to make sure they still qualify based on the disability rules for adults. So that's one thing. We'll initiate that. So your main responsibility there, of course, is just to always make sure you're keeping your information up to date, address, contact info, all that sort of stuff. But another thing to really consider is because of that needs-based aspect, there's a chance that your child didn't qualify for SSI because of your income or your assets. And if that's true, if that's the only reason they were ineligible for SSI was because of your income, you need to understand that once they turn 18, your income doesn't affect them anymore. So you would want to consider reapplying or applying with us for that benefit or helping them apply for that SSI benefit because your income doesn't count. Even if they live with you, we might count the fact that they're living with you free of charge, if that's the case, as a little bit of income, but it wouldn't be something that would make them ineligible like it did prior to them turning 18. So if you need more info about that, on our website, we have a great publication. It's called What You Need to Know About Your Supplemental Security Income When You Turn 18. You can get that at ssa.gov in our publication section. And then if you're looking for additional info on how SSI works for children, we've got a whole part of our web page called ssa.gov/youth, where you can get a lot of good information on how the SSI program works for young adults, and then there will be some information on children in there as well.
Very good. Jack, I'll tell you what, just one more time, where do folks go for information on all the things we've talked about here so far this morning? And we've got more of that coming folks' way. But again, where do folks find all that stuff we've talked about so far today?
Yep, a lot of great info on our website, Seth. It's going to be ssa.gov.
Jack Myers with Social Security, our guest on the phone for this morning. Let's take a break here. Come back with more with Jack on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. Corn lower, beans mixed, and wheat starting today higher. March corn down 1 1/4, 4.53 3/4. May corn down 1 1/4, 4.66 1/4. December new crop 4.87 3/4, down 1 1/2. January beans 12.38 1/2, down a penny. March beans down 4 1/2, 12.41, and November new crop 12.02 1/4, up 1/4. March wheat 6.02 up 5 3/4. May wheat up 5 1/4, 6.14 1/2. July wheat 6.23 up 5 1/4. March bean meal 3.66.20, that's down 2.30, and March bean oil 47.97, up 16 cents. Look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
We are celebrating winter here at Baum Chevrolet Buick. This is Scott Baum in Clinton and Farmer City. Start the new year off with a new Chevy Silverado. We have the right Silverado to get your hauling and towing jobs done, like our 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s in gas or diesel with several trim levels, custom, LT, LTZ, or even high country. Celebrate winter today. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. CEO Paul Scowen reminding you our walk-in clinic inside our family medicine building will treat your flu symptoms without an appointment. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and the WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, Jack Myers on the phone with me for this morning with Social Security. And Jack, let's talk about general enrollment for Medicare Part B. I know the prescription drug program gets a lot of attention when it comes time for open enrollment, but Medicare Part B open enrollment, let's talk about this.
Yeah, so and it's a different period, Seth, because we were talking about the prescription drug open enrollment period, which was the latter part of last year. And then once we turned the calendar, actually that ended a little bit before the end of the year. But now that we have turned the calendar into 2024, we are in the start of the Medicare Part B, as in boy, general enrollment period. So that's going to be from January through March of each year. And what that really is, Seth, is it's an opportunity for you to get enrolled in Medicare Part B if you didn't apply for Part B during your initial enrollment period, which would have been 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, or 3 months after. It's also true if you're on Medicare because of disability and you didn't take the Part B, maybe you refused the Part B when you were first eligible, and then some time has gone by and now you kind of want to get back into Part B. This would be your time to do it. This is, again, what's called the general enrollment period. It is January through March. If you enroll during this general enrollment period, your coverage becomes effective the month after. So that's kind of a new thing that came on last year. It used to be when you enrolled in the general enrollment period, you didn't get your coverage until July, but starting with the 2023 GEP, it became effective the month after. So that's a good thing. Now, a couple things you need to be aware of if you're doing a general enrollment period as opposed to initial enrollment period, Part B enrollment, is that your monthly premium will be higher likely because there's a 10% increase for each 12-month period that you were eligible for Part B but did not sign up. So that's something to be aware of for people who are thinking about this. Now, there are certain circumstances that will qualify you for a special enrollment period, which will offer an opportunity to enroll in Medicare without a penalty. So I'm not saying that you're always going to have a penalty or even that you always will need the general enrollment period, but really kind of the most common situation for a special enrollment period is those who were working or whose spouse was working and they had group health coverage that was based on active employment when first eligible for Part B. If you chose not to enroll in Part B because of the group health coverage that was based on your own active employment or your spouse's active employment, you can enroll later under a special enrollment period, which will give you basically 8 months from the time the employment or the coverage stops. But I typically tell people, you might have 8 months, but don't think about it that way because if you wait, you're going to have gaps in your coverage. So the best thing to do is to enroll, like if you know you're going to retire at the end of a particular month and you need to get signed up for Medicare because you're beyond 65, sign up while you're still working and you can choose for your coverage to start the month that you're applying or any of the first day of the next 3 months. So you can tell us which month you want it. There's a form you'd have to have your employer fill out or your spouse's employer to show that you've been working and you've had coverage based on that work, or they've been working and you've had coverage based on that work continuously from age 65. But that's all for a special enrollment period. And again, what we were talking about at the outset of this topic is the general enrollment period, which is January through March. I just wanted to differentiate between the two so that people know that there is also that opportunity for a special enrollment period if you chose not to enroll in Medicare because of work and active employment and group health coverage based on that active employment.
Now, Jack, with that, should folks reach out to Social Security, or are there other resources or locations for them to visit that they need to check out rather than Social Security? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question, Seth, and something I should have mentioned. So if you're enrolling in Medicare Part A or Part B, that is something that we do at Social Security. So you can do the enrollments into Part B. You can find information on our website, of course. If you go to ssa.gov, there are forms available there. Just look under the Medicare section. There are also resources that can assist you with that. So the Illinois Department on Aging has something that's called the Senior Health Insurance Program. They commonly go by the acronym of SHIP, S-H-I-P. So, you can reach out to them. You can look at, your local community. A lot of senior centers, area agencies on aging offer services there. But like I said, you can come to us at Social Security too. So if you go to ssa.gov/locator, you can find your local Social Security office. We do have the forms available on our website. You can even complete and upload them on our website at ssa.gov. So look at the Medicare section and you'll find what you need there. It's multiple different ways you can do that enrollment. But the bottom line is, you want to do it. If you need to get in and you want to get it as soon as possible and you're not going to qualify for a special enrollment period, now's the time because we're in the GEP now. And if you do it in January, your coverage will be effective in February. So January to March is this year's general enrollment period for Medicare Part B.
Jack Myers with Social Security on the phone with us here for this morning. Jack, let's wrap things up talking about safety of our Social Security cards. And, I bet, Jack, you're going to tell us that Social Security card needs to be in our back pocket at all times. What do you have for us?
Keep it close to you and keep it safe, huh? No, that's actually not what I'm going to say. It's unfortunate. We joke a little bit about it, but it's unfortunate that scams to steal your personal information remain at an all-time high. Because of that, it does remain critical to safeguard important personal documents like your Social Security card. And, most of the time, you're not going to need to show your Social Security card to anybody. So you really don't need to be carrying that around with you. It's not an identity document. Most of the time, the only thing you're going to need to know if you need anything related to Social Security is your number. A lot of times just giving out that number is all you need to do. If you are going to have a business need for your Social Security card, that's not usually the kind of thing that just pops up out of the blue. I mean, you typically know in advance that you're going somewhere where you're going to need your Social Security card, and you can grab it that day to take it. Take it out of your purse, take it out of your wallet, get it in a safe spot so that it doesn't become jeopardized if you lose those things. If you lose your wallet, if you lose your purse, if your Social Security card is in there, that just compounds the problem. So don't have your card in there, and also don't have it written down on a piece of paper in there either. That's no better than having your card in there. So keep that card at home or someplace safe so you can reduce the risk of loss or theft and just help keep your info safe. There's a lot more info than this available on our website. So if you want to kind of find out more about keeping your card safe or your information safe, or just kind of information about scams in general and how to stay safe from those, go to ssa.gov/fraud, and you'll learn information about all these topics, like I said, including how to spot scams and kind of keep yourself safe from different scams that are out there.
Very good. Jack, I look at the clock. We've got about a minute left yet here still for this morning. Let's just, anything that's kind of been a hot topic in the world of Social Security that either you've encountered or you've read about, noticed, anything come to mind there, Jack, as we wrap up this morning?
Well, Seth, as we wrap up this morning, I think maybe I'm going to kind of circle back to our first topic and something that I didn't mention there. We were talking about the ABLE Act and the Achieving Better Life Experience accounts. One of the things that I probably should have mentioned is that there is a limit to how much a person can contribute to an ABLE account each year. And right now, that's up to $17,000. So in case you were curious about that, the limit right now is $17,000 per year for an ABLE account. So, just to have that in your back pocket. And again, IllinoisABLE.com for information on that. Or if you want information on anything Social Security, our website again is www.ssa.gov.
Jack, always good to talk to you, sir. I think next time we catch up, we'll be on the eve of the Super Bowl weekend. We'll catch up then with Jack Myers at Social Security on the WHOW Morning Show.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM W222 BG Clinton, 106.5 FM W293 DJ Normal Bloomington.